Every single night I see him in my dreams, so much to the point where I haven't slept for days on end, and I'm scared I'll never escape him. Please, help me, anybody. This is what was written in an unsettling text file that I found on this USB, which I had just bought secondhand from the dollar store. Under this message, a YouTube channel was linked, which ended up unraveling a multiple decade-long investigation that ended in 2 casualties. This is the channel, simply titled Liam. On the surface, everything appears to be normal. However, after digging a little deeper, I found some disturbing things. The first thing I noticed was this description that read, "An archive of dreams I had." However, before we can truly understand what this means, I have to take you back to the very beginning with a simple video titled My Dream. The video starts with Liam loading into a world, which seems to be some sort of endless and desaturated plain filled with trees lined up in perfect sequence. He takes a bit of a look around before spotting some sort of object in the distance, zooming in for a closer look before heading in that direction. When he finally reaches it though, it seems to be nothing more than a lonely sunflower, which he breaks and continues heading in the same direction, this time finding 2 sunflowers. He swiftly moves on and heads in the same direction once more, finally reaching some sort of gravestone, with some sunflowers and a book on the head. The book is titled Field, and contains a simple saying reading Ignis Fatuus, which is the Latin translation for foolish fire, referring to mysterious lights, also known as will-o-wisps. This could likely be an analogy for Minecraft's Soulfire, as it looks incredibly similar and has an almost identical meaning. After we see this book though, the video fades to black and ends. This first video was just short, and didn't really tell us much, but we did get a bit of random info that could be relevant to upcoming episodes, such as the random sunflowers in the field, which led Liam towards the gravestone and helped him find this book. The sunflowers could be a symbolism for loyalty and longevity, as those are what they've been associated with since the dawn of time. I also assume the sunflowers have relevance because of the channel profile picture, which shows a photo of a sunflower. So maybe it's a continued motif they use throughout the channel. If we check the description of this video, we can see Liam wrote,
I haven't played Minecraft in a while. I only really remember the beta version from back when I played with some childhood friends. I don't remember the howling winds in my dream though.
This confirms what he had said earlier in the channel description, that these videos were all dreams, as he says he hasn't played Minecraft in multiple years, since the beta version in around 2011, 15 years ago. Apart from that though, there's nothing left in this video to cover, so we can move on to the next video, titled Soul Seeker. In this video, we can immediately notice what seems to be some sort of graveyard, lit up by only 2 soul lanterns, while Liam carries a singular soul torch. As he enters, we can see a sign right ahead, which, when going closer, we can see reads,
Do you seriously think you can just show up now?
Liam chooses to ignore it and walks further into the graveyard, finding a second sign reading,
Where were you when he needed you?
He continues to move past this again, continuing to go deeper, but as he's walking, we can also see a third sign, which reads,
I'm sorry.
Liam doesn't seem to notice this sign though, as he continues on to find yet another sign, this time reading,
Do you regret it?
He takes another quick look before moving on to find the 4th and final sign, right in front of a massive dead tree decked out with soul lanterns. This time, the sign reads,
I hope.
Liam then notices 2 different gates, one to the left and one to the right, and he decides to head towards the left. It seems to lead into some sort of enclosed forest, with a path going directly down the middle, and as he follows this path, we find another grave with a sign, this time reading Foolish Fire. Liam reads it, then places a sunflower, which seems to stop the eerie music that's been playing in the background throughout the whole video, changing it to just the sound of wind blowing, exactly like the previous video. This could be taken as further pushing the motif of sunflowers, trying to possibly make it seem like a representation of peace and prosperity, as the creepy, unsettling music stopped as soon as the sunflower was placed down. Apart from that though, I think it's important to address the graves we've seen quite a bit now. Is it possible that Liam could have lost a friend, and this video was him visiting the grave and laying down flowers as a sign of respect? After watching the entire video, I decided to check the description, only to find 4 simple words.
Brings back bad memories.
At this point, I'm starting to think it's entirely possible that Liam has lost someone that's close to him, whether that be a friend or even possibly a family member. But if we want to find out for sure, the only thing left to do is dig even deeper and venture to the next video, titled Personal Hell. The first thing I can notice from this video is that Liam appears to be in some sort of hellish landscape, still holding the same torch from the previous episode. We can also notice the large obsidian pillars in the distance, which seem to be placed randomly along this huge pool of lava. Liam stands inactive for about 40 seconds before opening his inventory, revealing a book and quill, as well as a signed book. He opens the book and quill and writes in a seemingly random string of letters. T, P, 0, A, W, D, L, S, P, K, Y. He then signs the book and names it Forest. Another thing we can notice is that we finally get to see Liam's username, xignisf8x. The Ignis could be referring to the Latin from last episode, which we found out translated to foolish fire. But what if there was a double entendre, calling Liam, aka Ignis, foolish, while also meaning the Latin saying Ignis for Zeus? He signs the book and continues standing statically for the rest of the video, but near the end, we can see a set of subtitles appear, reading,
I can't feel, I can't breathe, everything hurts.
While I'm unsure of what this means at the moment, it could be relevant to some info we might find out, so I'll keep that in the back of my mind while we focus on the other aspects of this video, mainly the weird string of text that Liam actually typed into the book. I originally tried to decode it using a Caesar cipher, but to no avail. I tried a couple of other methods, but none of them seemed to work as well, until I put the string into the end of a YouTube link, which revealed this unlisted video titled Monolith, which really wasn't a video at all, but a static image of a stone pillar, or monolith. The most important part of this video, however, is the description, reading,
Landmark. An object or feature of a landscape or town that is easily seen and recognized from a distance, especially one that enables someone to establish their location, if only he had one.
This description appears to be the dictionary definition of a landmark, which is what I assume this monolith seeks to represent. The "if only he had one" part, though, gives us a whole new perspective. From last video, we saw Liam in a graveyard, laying down flowers for who we assume is a friend who he lost, and all the weird signs and everything we've seen so far seems to be making him feel guilty. And if we take a look at the description for personal hell, it reads,
Sometimes the guilt eats away at me, until it feels as though I am suffocating.
Obviously, Liam feels guilty for something, and it's possible that he might have played a part in the loss of his friend. Tying back to the landmark, it's a fair assumption to make that maybe Liam's friend may have gotten lost somewhere, and was never seen again. But maybe he would have never gotten lost if he had some sort of a landmark. Something to tell him how to return to his friends. Something that could have easily prevented all of this. Which leads us to our next video. Isolation. This video starts with Liam in some sort of grassy plain, enclosed in between 4 large black walls. We can also immediately notice a staircase heading underground, leading into some weird hallways with not much decoration. He heads towards the end of the hallway and reaches a fork in the road, to which he chooses to go left. But as he heads towards the end of the left corridor and turns the corner, we seem to be in an identical position to where we started, with another fork in the road. And upon looking back, we see the original corridor that Liam came down right at the very start, instead of the path that he just came from. This time, he decides to turn right, but the same thing happens again and he's right back where he started. This time, Liam decides to pay attention to the item frame with nothing inside of it, and upon putting an item inside of it, a door opens up, revealing yet another corridor. Though this time, when he walks down, we can see different items inside of what looks to be some sort of containment. First, a normal oak tree, then the obsidian pillars from episode 2, and a huge sunflower in the next. Liam reaches the end of the corridor, which just seems to get cut off and leads straight into the void. But all of a sudden, Liam looks back and the void disappears, and now he's looking up into the corridor where he just came. But when he turns to go down the new one, the physics revert to normal and he falls, landing back in some weird location that seems to resemble the carriage of a train. As Liam walks through all the train cars, he eventually finds a door out to a subway platform, and as he walks further, we can see a lectern holding another book, reading,
I'm sorry, you know I didn't mean it. I'm sorry about what happened. You know it was some dumb f***ing mistake I made 10 years ago. I regret it every day. I know you blame me. I know you don't think I'm sorry. I know I should have done more. I know I shouldn't have ever f***ing went there. Cameron, if you ever see this, I'm so sorry. It hurts.
This is the first time we've heard a name other than Liam, and it just raises even more questions. Is Cameron the friend that got lost, whose grave we saw in the second episode? Is he the reason that Liam is feeling all of this guilt towards what seems to have been a tragic accident? What mistake was made 10 years ago that caused Cameron to never be seen again? If we go back to when he took the book from the lectern, we can see the name of the book is Mr. Cam 49, which is likely Cam's username. But everywhere I looked, there was no evidence of him ever even existing. But when I was first looking at Liam's channel, I remembered seeing another player in one of the thumbnails. And sure enough, upon clicking on the video, we can see Cam. But this video starts a bit different to all the others. For one, the version is obviously much older than anything we've seen so far, and with the time frame that the last video gave us of about 10 years, we can assume it's probably around 1.3 or 1.4. And second, this video doesn't seem to be in some weird desolate land with random structures or endless rows of trees. It just seems to be a normal Minecraft world. Possibly not even a dream at all, but an old memory of playing Minecraft with Cam before his disappearance. If we dive further into the video, it just seems to be a whole bunch of gameplay, spanning nearly 40 minutes straight. Liam says he wants to go mining, so he sets off in search of a cave, and just mines as normally once he finds one, dying once in the process. He spends pretty much the entire episode just down in the caves, returning only with about 3 minutes left. But when he goes back to the house, Cam is nowhere to be seen. And for a second, it seems like he's almost disappeared, until Liam says something in chat which causes him to respond, and say that he's looking for food. Liam tells Cam that his mum's calling him and he has to go. But before he leaves, he asks Cam whether or not he wants to hang out at the forest later, to which he responds,
"Sure, Liam."
Now that we've seen this video, I'm starting to get a sort of theory in order. The last thing Liam said before that last video ends was asking Cam to hang out at the forest, which, if we remember, is what Liam named the book in the Personal Hell episode, and also what was represented in the first and second video. My current theory is that the night of the video we just watched is what caused Cam's disappearance. He got lost in the forest while playing with Liam, and couldn't get back because it was dark and he couldn't see where to go. This is the reason Liam was feeling so much guilt, because he was the one that invited Cam out to the forest, which directly led to his disappearance and presumed death. If we go by this theory, it confirms that the grave we saw in the second episode was Cam's, and that Liam directly blames himself for subsequently causing Cam's death. And now, 10 years later, that guilt is starting to catch up to him and haunting him in his dreams. Which leads us to now, with Cam gone and Liam being eaten alive by the repercussions his death caused. For now though, we'll move on to the next video, titled Night Terrors. This video opens in what looks to be a static shot of a bedroom, but before long, we can see this creepy hand reach out and grab the side of the door, and then a contorted face comes into view, and the video cuts to black. Then we see this. It appears to be some sort of weird entity in the shape of a sunflower, and before long, it starts to say something to us.
Nature's voice called a staccato romance. Light chases shadow, eternally bound, to battle forever, no victor be crowned. A rushing of air, the landscape transformed to motion, leaves swirl to the ground, all trees bend in devotion. Steps near battles, soon water will fill. My heart can be subtle, my mind almost still. I walk and I bathe in the calm of this place. I am safe and I am happy in my forest space.
Before deciphering this weird poem, I tried to find its origin by searching on Google, but to no avail. After checking various websites, I eventually came across this poem written around a year ago, which seemed to resemble exactly what the entity was saying, and the first thing I noticed about it was the title, A Walk in the Forest. The entire channel has had a heavy motif of the forest, and if you remember my previous theory, I said that it seemed like Cam had gone missing in a forest, and this poem being titled A Walk in the Forest just seems to solidify that theory even more. The actual contents of the poem doesn't seem that relevant, unfortunately, so we're just gonna have to leave it at that. Although this video was short and didn't really tell us much, it's a good confirmation of my earlier theory and the continued motif of the forest, so we can keep that in our minds as we move on to the next video. Paranoia. This video starts with Liam walking down a long corridor again, where he eventually pops out into what looks like a library. After looking around, he finds a desk with a bookshelf and takes the single book inside of it, titled Looking for Something. As he opens his inventory though, we can see all the books from the previous episodes as well, indicating that maybe the previous dreams carried over. Another thing that we can notice is that the book was written by someone called Sunflower, which could refer to the weird entity we saw last video, which seemed to be in the shape of a sunflower. Liam finally opens the book and starts reading.
It seems as though you're within your dreams to search for something. Is there perhaps something you regret? A reason to stay within the past? Continue on your path, but be wary of what is to come. I'll see you soon, Liam.
The book claims that he's coming back to these places in his dreams to search for something, maybe some sort of closure on what allegedly happened in the forest. At the end of the book though, there's some sort of color-coded number encryption, which might be able to help Liam gain access to what he needs. And after a bit of searching, he eventually lands himself in the upstairs balcony area, presented with a bunch of bookshelves, seemingly corresponding to the cipher in the book. Since this video is in mostly black and white, it's hard for us to make out colors, but we can tell that Liam seems to be putting them in a specific order based on what the book says. After completing the puzzle, a door opens at the end of the balcony, leading into some sort of office area, as the door closes behind him. On the desk, there's two items, a book and a sunflower. Liam immediately goes to grab the book, which is titled A Key, which reads,
So I suppose you found it. You always were a smart one, Liam. Even through my warnings, you never gave up. But if I know Liam, and trust me, I know Liam, you always were stubborn, and you found the key. I suppose you want that answer, what keeps you up at night. We both know in your next dream, I shall be there. You'll be seeing me soon, because I already see you.
This book talked about Liam's previous trauma, and how this thing will see him in his next dream. And with not a lot more to cover from this video, we can move on to the next, and see if this entity really kept its word. The next video is on the longer side, spanning 16 minutes and 20 seconds. As we enter this video, Liam finds himself in yet another corridor, this time lined with quartz and rows upon rows of sunflowers on each side, split up by pillars with some sort of weird tapestry with a simple pattern of an eye. Liam reaches the end of the corridor and enters a large open space, which reveals a huge pillar with some sort of branding on them, reading Herring Industries, depicting a photo of a fish being caught. He looks around a bit and then enters the first door, which looks like some sort of classroom or office. We can also notice text on the large screen, asking the user whether or not they want to open the maze door with a lever down the bottom. Liam flicks the lever and makes his way into a different room, where we can see a door has opened to a whole new area, the maze. He walks around for a bit before coming across a lectern, which contained another encrypted message. I desperately tried to run it through a Caesar cipher, but didn't end up finding anything, and in a desperate attempt, I checked the description and found this, another encrypted message, this time a little easier to decode. Upon putting it inside a base 64 decoder, it gave us the link to a website with the huge branding Herring Industries. And if you remember from earlier, this was the exact same company on the spire in that open area, with the same symbol of the fish being caught. At first, I was a bit confused about what this random website had to do with this video, as it just seemed to be some research company, until I read a tiny bit deeper.
Herring Industries, founded in 1999, is a leader in technological research. We study computer programming, artificial intelligence, and our most recent endeavor, the psychological effects dreams have on people.
It all makes a lot more sense now. This company seems to run a lot of research on people and their dreams, which ties into Liam's entire channel's purpose. Maybe this company is directly running research on Liam, which could explain why all this is randomly coming back after over a decade of time. As we scroll a little further down on the website, we can see a photo of a sunflower next to the heading Our History, which contains the name of the founder of the company, Sonny Bennett. The rest of this website contained a bunch of information that didn't really feel relevant, but something that did catch my eye was their news tab, dating all the way back to the 4th of June in 2011 to the 9th of October the following year. The first few articles seemed very disinteresting, just random company banter and holiday wishes, but on the 6th of January 2012, this message was posted.
Due to recent leaks within the company, we have begun to encrypt all our files with a cipher known as cipher. It is a simple cipher where, depending on the number of letters within the word, you move each letter forward, not counting the original number, by that number. For example, hi there would be JKYMJWJ, as hi is 2 letters long and there is 5 letters long. To reverse it, count the number of letters within a word and move it back by said number. For example, NZZKISLXLIR would be goodbye then.
This message talks about a new cipher the company invented, and sure enough, upon applying the rules to this weird string in the book, we finally get the phrase,
I know you regret it.
Liam takes the book and goes to walk away, until we start hearing this weird low-pitched growling. It sounds like the same sunflower entity from the Night Terrors video, and it keeps saying Liam over and over. While still exploring the maze, Liam finds yet another lectern with another cipher in it, and if we decode it the same way as the other one, it reads,
Allow me to tell you a story, Liam.
He takes the book again, and we can see it has the name 3, similar to the first one, which was titled 1. Liam walks around the corner and finds another book, this time reading,
Does it hurt you?
And when he takes the book, we can see the name 2. I have a feeling when you read all the books in order, they become a giant phrase, and if we read them in order currently, we get,
I know you regret it. Does it hurt you? Allow me to tell you a story, Liam.
It cuts off at a sort of weird point, so I assume there's definitely more books to find, hopefully telling us the whole story that I wanted to relay to Liam. So he keeps searching and finds another book, this time reading,
His eyes slowly losing its life.
But as he takes the book, we can see the number is a lot larger than the other ones, so there's obviously a lot more books in this maze to find. So Liam keeps searching and eventually finds the next one, 8, and then 6, 7, 9, 12, before stopping for a second to reorder the books in his inventory. He continues on and finds 13, then 10, 5, and finally 4. Liam makes his way out of the maze, and we finally get a chance to read all of the books in order.
I know you regret it. Does it hurt you? Allow me to tell you a story, Liam. Once upon a time, a young boy played with his friends in a place none of them should have been at. That boy trusted his friend in a way so sickishly naive. And how did they repay the boy? They left him to rot, alone, abandoned. Does that sound funny? His jaw ached from his yells, his lungs filled with blood, his eyes slowly losing its life. But if a tree falls in a forest, is anyone truly around?
This seems like a lot to take in at the moment, but it seems to retell the story of a boy who went missing in the forest, left to die by his friends. This boy is presumably Cam, and it retells the story of how he went missing and was left by Liam. But the story also mentioned friends, a plural, which means that there were more than just the two of them in that forest together, which means more people than just Liam know exactly what went down on that fateful day. The next video doesn't seem to be a dream, but a text exchange between two people, Liam and someone named Cameron Sanchez, who I assume is Cam from earlier. This video is only short, but it seems like some sort of reconnection between Cam and Liam, after obviously not talking for many years at this point, about 10 judging by what Cam said about Liam's username. Liam tries to make an attempt at apologizing to him, but Cam doesn't want to accept his apology in the slightest, stating,
You really think some half-assed apology via text will make me forgive you? You make me sick, Liam.
Liam says he feels guilty after what happened in the forest, but Cam just tells him,
You shouldn't apologize to me, it was your fault.
This entire video just flipped my theory completely upside down. If Cam wasn't the one who died in the forest, then who was it? The only other beings we know about is Sunflower and Sunny Bennett, the creator of that website we saw in the previous video. So I decided to go back to that website and found some new harrowing information.
It is with a heavy heart we must announce the tragic and sudden passing of our CEO, Sunny Bennett. He was a great man who led this company with a sense of pride like no other. A funeral will be held on the 13th. Work will continue as normal, if not a little rocky. His child, Sunflower, shall precede him. We ask for your condolences to his friends and family in these trying times.
So now we know that Sunny Bennett died at some point in October of 2012. But how are we supposed to know if this lines up with the date that the incident in the forest happened? Well, if we go back to the website's homepage and scroll all the way down to the bottom, we can see this.
On October 9th, 2012, Liam Aisling, a 9-year-old male, was responsible for the...
Liam Aisling must be Liam's full name, and October 9th must be the day that the whole forest incident went down, which aligns with the date that Sunny Bennett was announced dead. So now that we know it wasn't Cam that died in the forest, why did they leave Sunny to die? We know that they were both there, so why was Cam completely blaming Liam for Sunny's death? Another thing I noticed when reading that announcement is the name of Sunny's successor and son, Sunflower, who's the entity we keep seeing every few videos, tormenting Liam for what happened. But if Sunny was old enough to have a son, why was he hanging around with kids like Liam and Cam? And this confused me for a long time, and I still don't have an answer. But we still have a few videos left to watch, so let's move on to the next one, Organ Harvest. This video starts with Liam in some sort of room, directly facing a lectern, and for the first few frames of the video, that book's contents are visible to us, and we can identify the same cipher that was hiding the Herring Industries website. Once deciphering, it led to a Google Drive, containing just a single image. It's super dark, but I can make out 3 things: trees, a huge moon, and a face in the bottom right. This seems to be a depiction of what happened when Sunny was left in that forest, stranded with nowhere to go and nothing to do but wait for the inevitable. If we shift our focus back to the video, we can see Liam look around the room for a bit, before finding a passageway to a different area, with cage pigs on each side. And once Liam reaches the end, we see some signs saying that this area is a freezer, and for employees only. Liam enters anyway, and we see a bunch of netherrack hanging from the ceiling, which I'm guessing is trying to depict some sort of meat, with the pigs indicating this could be a slaughterhouse or some other meat processing facility. Liam walks through a bunch of random rooms before finally reaching the end, which seems like some sort of cave encased in netherrack. He eventually reaches a huge hole at the end of the cave and jumps into it, where we see what looks like a huge eye inside of a massive room. Liam walks past it though, heading into a darker part of the room, where we can just barely see something at the end, and after a bit of walking, a small oak tree comes into view, accompanied by a lonely sunflower and some signs. Signs read,
The moon, the eclipse, the sun, a trio of friends.
The L, C, and S seem to refer to Liam, Cam, and Sunny, as that would also make sense with the saying a trio of friends. The sun, moon, and eclipse part though doesn't really make a lot of sense, but maybe it's trying to associate each of them with one of these things. I think the only one we can say for sure is that Sunny is definitely symbolized by the sun, but I'll come back to this later down the line when we get more evidence. After Liam sees these signs, he just stares at them for about 10 seconds, and the video just ends. Honestly, it didn't tell us much of anything, so I feel like we can safely move on to the next video, titled Sunshine. I immediately noticed the same house from that previous gameplay video, where him and Cam were playing together on their world. We can see that they had already been playing for a little bit before Liam started recording, talking about their day and other random stuff. Then, about 10 seconds into the video, an account named Sunny Bennett joins the game, and I think it's safe to assume who this is. Liam doesn't seem to recognize him though, asking Cam whether or not that's his friend. Right off the bat, Sunny seems like this bubbly and happy person, using a bunch of emoticons at the end of his messages, and just generally seeming like a carefree dude. Liam also immediately seems very passive aggressive towards Sunny, asking him why he put his full name in his username and asking if he's ever heard of internet safety. Sunny then asks Liam what his name means, which he confirms means deceptive, which was our theory all the way back from episode 1, using the phrase Ignis Fatuus again. Liam then gives Sunny a tour of the world, providing him with resources to help survive. This gameplay seems to be set a few days after the previous one we saw, as Liam mentions how he still can't find any mobs, which was something he first mentioned in the original video. Liam runs around for a bit and finds himself fighting a spider, which he announces in chat. Sunny responds and says that he likes spiders, and Liam goes to respond with nobody asked, before quickly switching his answer to seem less aggressive. It's pretty evident that he has a pretty big distaste for Sunny, but we can't be sure why at this point in time. He continues being passive aggressive towards Sunny the rest of the video, calling him dumb and shutting down his proposal for a treehouse. Eventually the conversation shifts to flowers, where Sunny mentions that he wishes there were more variants of yellow flowers, to which Cam responds that the yellow flowers aren't special enough, prompting Sunny to say that he thinks they're special. This kind of plays into the motif of sunflowers again, as Sunny mentioned directly that he wished they existed inside of the game and that they hold a special meaning to him. Liam then questions Sunny again, asking if he's new here and when he moved, then asking if he shared a class with Cam. This immediately raised a few red flags, considering just a few videos ago, Sunny was the father of a kid named Sunflower, meaning he had to be way too old to share a class with Cam. So I went back to the website once again, and realized that the answer had been right in front of me the entire time. The name of the website was literally Herring Industries, and this entire channel had been about deceptiveness and lying, which means that I think the post about the CEO on that website was entirely a red herring, and Sunny Bennett was actually the kid that died, not the CEO of a research company, and Sunflower was his father and the actual CEO, trying to get revenge for the death of his kid through hijacking Liam's dreams. After this huge discovery, the rest of the video really doesn't contain much more important information, apart from when Liam asks Cam to talk right before the video ends. One of the first things I did after watching this video was check the description, which read,
jealousy, envy, all eating away at my skin until it felt numb.
This could be a really good sign of a motivating factor which led to Sunny's eventual death. Liam's immense jealousy, a fear that Cam might replace him as a friend, that Sunny might split them up and ruin their relationship. If we remember back to the previous video, there was something on the side at the end that was meant to symbolize the three of them, a sun, moon, and eclipse. We can assume Sunny is the sun, and now that I've seen this video, I think it's safe to assume who the others are as well. I feel like the moon seeks to symbolize Liam, as it's the polar opposite of the sun, and it's pretty obvious that Liam is the complete opposite to Sunny and doesn't like him at all, while Cam is kind of that in between, the eclipse. He's friends with both of them, and is sort of like the mediator, not on anyone's side and just wants to play Minecraft with his friends. I'm not quite sure if these symbols will be useful later, but it's good to know for now if we do need to go back to them. But with that out of the way, we can comfortably move on to the second to last video now, Heaven. As soon as we dive into this video, it seems like another survival world again, but this time, all the textures are completely white. Liam walks around for a bit as the video skips around a bunch, showing him in a few different locations, until it cuts to black and this weird kaleidoscope effect starts happening, and then it cuts again, where we see the weird sunflower figure again, this time in some sort of skeleton form, talking to us again. But I couldn't make out a single word of what it was saying, until I figured out that the audio was actually reversed. So when I put it back to normal, it sounded like this. This seems like another attempt at guilt-tripping Liam, stating that he was trying to split the blame between him and Cam, when it was completely his fault. But we actually never even worked out why it was his fault at all. What happened in the forest to make it completely Liam's fault, even though Cam was still present? And why didn't Cam ever turn Liam into the police? Maybe he was scared of being caught up in the blame and didn't want anything to ever come to light. But things obviously did, as that Herring Industries website knew that Liam was the one who committed the act. As the video continues on, we see this weird red and black figure, which pops up for a few seconds and takes off its mask, just to disappear again. The next scene then shows a missing poster for Sonny Bennett, which is largely redacted, but does tell a slightly new story about the events that unfolded that night.
Sonny Bennett was last seen playing near the forest with his friends. 9-year-old Liam Aisling and 8-year-old Cameron Sanchez. Both boys claimed they had gotten separated after running away from a wild animal, resulting in Sonny Bennett's disappearance in the vast forest of...
This seems to be the original story that Liam was trying to pass off in the beginning, with the episode like Monolith, which inferred that Sonny had gotten lost on his own, rather than by Liam's hands. The scene after this seems to be a continuation of last video, after he asked Cam to talk before it cut.
So, he's new here, right? Never been anywhere?
I guess so.
You know that forest we hang out at? Wouldn't it be fun to bring him?
That might be cool.
Like we just drop him and leave him in the forest. It'd be pretty funny. Like a prank.
I don't really know Liam.
It's not a very big forest anyways. He'll find his way out. No need to be so stuck up.
I'm not.
Tomorrow night then. Bring him to that forest. It'll be fun to see his face the day after.
Okay.
This scene is the first look we get at the motivation between the whole forest incident. Maybe it was just a big tragic accident. Liam never intended to kill Sonny, but he could have never predicted the actual outcome. It seems the original intention was to just scare and establish authority over him. Obviously not a properly thought out decision, probably made because he wanted Cam to be solely his friend. Overall, Liam seems to really like having control over Cam, and when you introduce other people into the picture, that disappears. At the end of the video, we see the end of a YouTube URL again, which takes us directly to an unlisted video titled Coming to Terms. This video just appears to show a weird red and white sunflower, but does seem to be some sort of vocal exchange between Liam and Sunflower.
I guess. Of course I do. I always have. That doesn't define who I am. It's just some stupid passing thought in my brain. No different than what you are. You aren't even real. I don't have to talk to you.
There seems to be a very clear theme through these exchanges with Sunflower, and that's getting Liam to take accountability for his actions. He doesn't seem to care about getting revenge or anything, but just wants Liam to own up to what he's done and stop lying to everybody. So we can keep that in the back of our minds as we move on to the 13th and final video, Awake.
My name is Liam Ashling. When I was 9 years old, I indirectly killed somebody. It was 2012. I had two friends, Cameron Sanchez and Sonny Bennett. Cameron was my friend ever since kindergarten. Sonny was Cameron's friend for about a month, and hardly mine for a few days. One of me and Cameron's favorite things to do, if we weren't playing games, was to play in the local forest near our houses. And then, in October, this kid moves into town, shared a class with Cameron. They talked, and they became friends. I never got to meet this kid, because I didn't share a class with Cameron at the time. But one day, he joined me and Cameron's server, and that was the first time I ever spoke to him. My stupid 9-year-old brain just couldn't fathom the idea of my best friend that had friends that weren't me. I felt mad about it. I didn't know what to do. And then I suggested something to Cameron. I told him this idea about a prank. We leave Sunny in the forest and see if he can find his way out. I guess I thought it would be nothing. That Sunny would show up the next day at school and he would just laugh with us. But the next day at school came and he wasn't there. And the next, he wasn't there. And the next, he wasn't. He wasn't anywhere to be found. The police began to look for him, but that forest spread across hundreds of miles. I told Cameron to lie about what I did, that some wild animal chased us and made us split up, and how it was all just an accident. And he listened. And when the cops interviewed us, we told him that story. A week later, they found his corpse. He had tripped on something and caved his head on like some rock. After that, I never saw Cameron again. I moved away shortly after. In reality, these dreams have been going on since I found out he was dead. The only constant to those dreams were Sunny, or at least what my mind makes of him. I don't know what I was thinking. I killed him. I left him to die. It was my fault. I just thought it'd be some stupid prank. I was just so jealous that Cameron had a friend that wasn't me. I disliked Sunny, but that wasn't his fault. It was my fault. My fault that my anger, my envy, just led to his death. I don't want forgiveness. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to live either. Sometimes I try praying for forgiveness, but I feel as though I don't deserve that grace. Cameron hates me. Sunny hates me. Cameron wants me dead. Sunny probably wants me dead too. And in the back of my head, there's some voice telling me that I did want him dead. My whole life, everything I've told everyone has been one big lie. One big, deceptive lie that made people look the other way. So this is the last you'll ever hear of me. I'm so sorry, Sunny.
And that was it. All of our questions were finally answered at last, and we can finally say that we know the real secret behind Liam and his channel.